Hi, welcome to the Wired
and Rewired podcast all about the hit HBO series, The Wire.
I'm Chris, and this is my 1,000th time watching The Wire.
And this is Ellie. It's my first.
If you're new to the Force or a longtime veteran, we think you'll find something here to enjoy. Today we are covering Season 3, Episode 7, Back Burners. And as always, we begin by popping a recap. Herc discovers a blast from the past, which he belatedly reveals to his ex-colleagues. Daniels blows a gasket over the real reason the detail was reassigned from an investigation in Pimlico to the Western District. Stringer Bell learns from Donette that she's told Brianna about McNulty's visit and that Brianna is likely to talk to him. Bubbles makes a sales call and finds Johnny during the long, strange trip. Man, Bubbles makes a sales call?
Is that what we would call that?
I mean, kudos to Apple, whoever's writing these. This is good stuff. Omar grapples with guilt as Butchie points out its pitfalls. Greg stumbles into Cheryl, forcing them to confront the realities of their relationship. Carver announces a new tax initiative to help the unemployed. After a traffic stop turns bad, Colvin is forced to explain Hamsterdam to members of the detail. Bunk receives a gift-wrapped surprise with a single cell phone, while a single cell phone allows Freeman to begin mapping out a communications network for the Barksdale organization. Councilman Carcetti confronts Mayor Royce after learning that nothing's been done about the witness protection issue. McNulty tracks Terry to Washington, where he discovers the ups and downs of a long-distance relationship. Marlo dispatches a drive-by on a Barksdale corner from the calm of his pigeon coop. Whew. The episode was written by Joy Lusko. This is her third episode. She wrote The Hunt from Season 1 and Hard Cases from Season 2. And this was directed by Tim Van Patten, who this is his third episode as well. He directed Sentencing from Season 1 and Stray Rounds from Season 2. It premiered on November 7th, 2004. Mm-hmm. All right, Ellie, bust out the epigraph, please.
Conscience do cost.
What a line.
From Butchie.
Conscience do cost.
That's great.
I know. That is going to filter quite a lot through this episode, as is the title, Back Burners. I felt like it's kind of like one or the other, but this time both. So, yeah. So, to that end, did you have any initial thoughts about this episode?
No, I like this episode. There's some good stuff and more weaving. Like the Western and Major Crimes Division gets a lot more woven together.
Yeah, exactly.
In this one.
100%. It definitely feels like there's a lot more like kind of setup for what feels like the rest of the season. Yeah. So really, I was just kind of like, oh my God, there's just like the whole Bernard squeak getting the phones thing. It's like, like a lot of hilarious moments in that, but it's just like setting up. There's not a lot of complexity to it. So, but I wanted to mention that this episode, I just noticed that there's a lot of like the ripple effects of the things you start.
Oh, right.
And just that to me felt like much more prominent throughout the episode. And so we'll touch on that a little bit. So that was like the first time where I was like, it was more than kind of, taking a step back and kind of seeing, things that started. And then now we're seeing these sort of broader effects as opposed to kind of what felt like a lot more linear of the details getting closer to creating a case. This is like now just seeing further effects outside of kind of the straight line. Anyway, that was a little bit of a thing. So anyway, I'll keep us moving because I'm clearly spinning. So let's cover your predictions.
Okay.
So quite a good job today. Teresa and McNulty get together again. Boom, got that. He's more into her, obviously.
Yes. Oh my God. Stalker.
Thirsty man. Yeah, exactly. Though I did appreciate the little his using his detective work to do that, which but yes, you were right on the money on that. He's definitely more into her. Avon, you said Slim Charles has to hit back, which I don't know. What do you think?
I don't think so.
No, I guess not.
I would not call what he did as hitting back.
No. And then will Avon get his hands dirty? I mean, they're as close to as possible. I mean, he's out on the corner.
He is
talking to Bodie, stuff like that.
Seen.
So. String in the business, the condos start getting built.
Nope.
Not so much. Not so much. Hamsterdam, the higher ups will find out and shut it down. So
not quite there.
Not the higher ups, but the word is getting out.
The word's getting out.
I think you were on the right track. But the higher ups not quite there. And then Carcetti will actively encourage Gray to run for mayor. I mean, he's basically
he's in. He doesn't need
pushing.
no.
Yeah. Cutty goes to the Deacon and starts working on his GED. Not the GED directly, but went to the Deacon, and now he's ready. So good. And of course, I love that storyline.
Yes. Did I say something?
What the hell?
What?
I mean, I know I wrote this down. I'm like, is Ellie hacking the document that I'm looking at? Because I wrote down Omar will help Bunk find the gun, and he will make some kind of trade. And like that's like basically exactly what happened.
Exactly
and
what happened.
I have to. Okay, I'm gonna have to cut into the episode. Like, here's what Ellie actually said. Because holy crap, that is amazing.
I think Omar is going to help Bunk find the gun as some kind of, I don't know, to either get Bunk off his, or like some kind of trade, some kind of deal.
Okay.
Like, I'll help you find this gun. I know you can't find it if you not necessarily look the other way, but I don't know. Just, I feel like that's something. I mean, they didn't talk about the gun in that long conversation they had for no reason. We know that Omar knows that it's an issue for Bunk.
Sure.
Okay.
And Daniels will know about Kima and McNulty, and he'll be pissed, and you got that right as well. So good job there.
Thank you.
So excellent predictions
Pretty
from Ellie.
good.
So
Pretty good.
yeah, okay. Well, I think that's all I've got. No commentary on this one, so we
Okay.
can get started.
All right. Well, here are the storylines I have. A neatly wrapped present for Bunk. Carcetti's next power play. Hamsterdam needs a babysitter's club. Marlo raises rats with wings. So weird. Avon's threat and Stringer sweats.
Okay.
Burners breakups and booty calls. And Ellie hearts Cutty again.
Oh, yay.
Yay,
Okay.
he's back in my good graces.
All right. Wonderful. Okay.
All right, well, let's get to Bunk.
Okay.
So Omar goes to visit Butchie, and he is talking about the conversation that he had with Bunk. And, you know, if we recall, Bunk was talking about what had happened to their neighborhood growing up and how it's different now. And he feels really guilty. It's stuck with him, and he can't handle it. And Butchie just tells him, you know, you just bumped up against some clever police, and you know that's what police do. They're working with your guilt, and it just still doesn't sit very well with Omar. She tells him this great story about his uncle down in Carolina, and he felt really bad because he chased away his lady friend, and so he decided to punish himself, and punished himself by removing his pinky finger, and then he removed his ring finger, and then before he did anything else, he stopped and said, the bitch weren't worth more than a pinky. Oh, I love it. It was such a funny story, you know, and a good life lesson there, right? Like, you gotta decide how much you're gonna suffer about something that's upset you.
Yep.
And he tells him, you know, you could try that. And he says, well, I was thinking about something a little less dramatic.
Yeah.
And so setting up for somehow making some kind of peace or offering to Bunk.
Yep.
You just bumped up against a clever police's hole. Of course, he gonna try to shame you with the dead girl or some mess about children looking up to Omar and his sword over. All he can do, especially since you backed down what he had for a witness. He working you with guilt, boy.
Yeah, the fat man gave me an itch I can't scratch, Butcher.
Well, everybody in this world does what they gonna do. Me, you, the police. Everybody in this world got their own place. And a man in your line of work start worrying about how other people see you playing to other people instead of to himself, he gonna get dead.
I still feel like I owe something, Butch.
I had an uncle down Carolina. He dead now. But I remember he was grieving real hard on chasing his lady friend away. So he put himself to punishment. Took a knife to his little finger, then his ring finger. With him all bloody on the table, he pulled up short. For the rest of his life, I remember him saying, the bitch wasn't worth more than a pinky. Huh? But it was too late then. You can try that. You got a mind.
I don't know, but a little something less dramatical.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah, I in case I think it's worth going back to watch the confrontation between Omar and Bunk in the previous episode, just to see at the end Omar's reaction with a new light, like now knowing what he feels like now. So,
I agree. Okay, yes, he tells him that he can try that too if he wants to, and he says, I'm looking for something a little less dramatic instead. So he is trying to make amends in some way, and since he cannot put his conscience to rest, he decides to look for the weapon, the gun that Bunk has been looking for, and he does that using Butchie's contacts.
Right.
So that is where we do here.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that the interesting part about that component, so of course, this word.
Yes, conscience due cost.
There you go.
Yeah.
Didn't want to steal your. But then the other thing is just again to go back to the conversation with Bunk and Omar. Omar had heard that Bunk was looking for the gun.
That's right.
And so that's how.
That is right.
Omar knew that this is a way that he could kind of buy his way out. And
exactly.
So,
Yes. So now Omar has located the gun thanks to Butchie. $1,500.
$1,500. Yeah, exactly.
It conscious due cost.
You sure it's the one?
BC said that was the one. Who am I to say different?
Tell him I ain't gonna pay till he prove himself, though.
I told him that already. He said $1,500 for his troubles.
Damn.
Conscience due cost.
So anyway, so now we are at homicide. We see that Bunk is about to cut somebody's tie. It's Crutchfield. Crutchfield has fallen asleep at his desk. This is the running prank in the office. If you fall asleep, they cut your tie off. Poor Crutchfield, he's been up all night. I think he said he was doing a double or something like that.
Yeah, worked a double.
They worked a double shift. And that's when he gets a call from Butchie, thanks to Omar, and goes to Butchie's bar. And when he gets there, Butchie gives Bunk the weapon, and we see that it is wrapped in Omar's tie.
Right.
The tie, the beautiful tie that he wore, not correctly tied, or was not a Windsor knot when he was in court for the prosecution of Bird.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that would make no sense if you hadn't seen that.
Exactly.
You the man who called?
I did.
You witnessing or what?
I'm afraid I'm blind. Legally. Something you need to see, though. Glock 40, I believe.
I suppose you ain't gonna tell me who brought this here, right?
Like I said, I'm blind. I thought you might know, though.
You tell him for me. I'm hoping he might need this in court someday.
But I was just, and it's just interesting to think about how Butchie being blind.
Yes.
What a great
I know.
kind of characteristic to have.
Yes.
He's like, who brought this in? I don't know.
Yeah, right.
Blind.
Like he says, I'm afraid I'm blind.
Yeah.
Legally. Something you need to see, though.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's where he shows him the Glock, and he says, you're not going to tell me who this is, but he does say, Bunk says, you tell him for me.
Yeah.
I'm hoping he might need this in court someday.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess like that line, if you think about what Omar did in season 2, was essentially trying to keep the game from affecting citizens.
Yeah.
So in a way, he's trying to protect the community that Bunk was talking about.
Right.
And so that, to me, feels like that's what Bunk was
Yeah.
saying in that comment. Of,
Yes.
he could still continue to help, and the tie represents him helping the community kind of keep the peace kind of thing.
I guess because I kind of thought, I mean, I see what you're saying. That does make a lot of sense. I kind of thought that he meant that he wasn't going to quit looking for him.
Oh, interesting.
That he was going to see him in court on his own terms. I guess
you might be right.
Sure.
Okay. That could be. That's possible.
Well,
that's a great interpretation. I like that.
Maybe we'll see.
Yeah.
But you won't tell me.
Right. And then, the other, I definitely won't tell you.
You definitely won't.
But the other part of it is when Bunk unwraps the gun, you see like this weight, just lift off his shoulders. And I just feel like even though he's last episode said, I'm going to work my double, the weight of it was still weighing on him, and the conscience do cost him as well, even though he tried to like absolve himself. It still bothered him. So really it's an interesting kind of comparison. So okay. And I just realized I screwed you up because I think I had the conscious do cost line in the wrong place too. So all right, good recovery. So
Thank you. Okay. Phew, I knew. Okay. So shall we move it to some politics?
Let's do it.
All right. Okay, well, Tommy, Mr. Carcetti, is checking in with Burrell about his previous request about the witness protection program and how it doesn't actually do anything to protect witnesses because they die. Anyway, so he talks to him and he says, hey, where are we on this thing? And Burrell's like, what are you talking about? And he's like, hey, the witness program, right? Like the mayor didn't get in touch with you about this. And he said, I got a call from the chief of staff, but all he said was, don't get any more witnesses killed.
Right.
That is not overhauling the program.
No.
And he basically tells him, we don't have money for this. Like, unless I get a whole influx of some cash, there's nothing that I can do to help protect witnesses better. And he does, Carcetti kind of presses, he says, has the mayor talked to you at all about this directly? And Burrell, again, he is, even though Carcetti's kind of proven himself, Burrell's like, are you gonna F me over on this? He says, no, I won't say anything. And Burrell tells him, mayor didn't say a word to me.
Yep.
So now Carcetti has, first off, he's, I really do feel like in this situation, he is trying to do the right thing, but he also has some fuel now for this fire.
Yeah.
that he's going to start burning Royce with.
Yeah. Especially when you have kind of what's the word? You're on the side of the angels, I guess, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm doing this for the good of the city or whatever. And so, and I'll throw this out here because I kind of forgot, but I think it was in 2 different episodes, but when we learned that Marlo killed the witness that was going to testify against him,
right,
and then Carcetti brings up the witness being killed.
Yeah.
I think those are 2 separate incidents, but I wonder if they're talking about the same person there and it's just related.
Okay.
But in any case, but and you just, as Carcetti said the last episode, when you see this kind of story, it means that things are broken and can't be fixed.
Right.
And so he's just like trying to save, like he's still like, it's all about trying to do the right thing here and being honorable and just trying to solve a problem. So and now he's just pissed off about it. So yeah.
Yes, he is. Well, he meets up with his new campaign manager, D'Agostino. She's agreed to be his campaign manager at this point. And she kind of tells him, hey, like, what do you want to do with this? You want to go to the press with this? And she says, you want to do this now? Like, you want to get in, you want to rip him open right now. You've got a primary next September. So, she's kind of saying, like, you need to hang on to this. If you let this go out right now, nobody's going to remember that by the time that the primaries are up.
Yeah.
So instead, she encourages him to go to Royce and, not out of anger, not upset, and just say, hey, I asked you about this. What happened? Like, why didn't anything happen with this? And then if he does actually act on it, great. You know, you could feel good about that. That's something you wanted to happen. And if he doesn't, you need to hang on to it and document it and, you know, indicate how, you know, disappointed you are in what's happened. And then this part is just gets me. And I should mention his wife is there too.
Yep.
Right. So they're at his house is D'Agostino and Carcetti and his wife. You know, they said, like, if the next witness gets killed, you're set.
Right.
You've done exactly what you need to do. And they're like, yeah, it's great, unless you're the witness.
Yeah.
Right. But D'Agostino kind of tells you it's all going to be ugly from this point on.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, what can you say? Like, I think in a way, like, I don't know if there's a thing, if there's did this episode hold up? The politics stuff is still absolutely right on the money.
People forget.
Yeah.
They do. And that's why people hold on to stuff. And suddenly somebody's, you know, up for election and you find out all these things that I'm sure people knew months and months ago about them, but they release it when the time is convenient for them.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think the other part of it is, you know, when you have a situation where, you know, with a two-time incumbent, people can kind of get used to their lives the way that it is.
Yeah.
Right. And so the only way to, you know, kind of convince people that you're worth taking a shot on is that you've got to make it look so bad that, you know, there's no alternative. Like the alternative to stay with what you've got is terrible. And so, you know, witnesses being killed is a pretty good, it's a pretty good story. Yeah. So yeah, it's, you know, it's only gotten uglier, unfortunately. So
indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed. Well, Carcetti takes D'Agostino's advice. He goes to meet with Royce, and they are talking about the witness protection program again, you know, and Royce again is trying to give him the runaround. I can't schedule this in right now. And, you know, he's talking about putting it in committee, which means that it would take forever for decisions to be made. Anybody who's been on a committee knows that's true. Mm-hmm. And Carcetti says, you know, all we need is like a few $100,000 to get this started. We don't have to do anything really elaborate. We just have to, you know, protect them, right? Mm-hmm. And Royce levels with him and says, hey, we don't have that money. That if we had it, it's already been spoken for. And he kind of says, you know, what do you want me to do? You know, should I take money away from, you know, other things like snow removal and trash pickup and all that stuff? And he, you know, that's his reality check. He says, I'm not trying to be difficult. I feel for him really in this moment because probably he really can't find a good place for the money to come from. Well, at least I don't know much about Royce.
Yeah.
To be honest, maybe there is something going on, but you know, he says we're doing all that we can do right now. And Carcetti just kind of gives a curt smile and says, thanks for your time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he puts that one in his pocket.
Yeah. I mean, that's exactly what he did. Yeah.
Yep.
You know, I've got a life lesson about this. I'll just tease it now, which is, you know, Royce, I just feel like plays this really terribly.
Yeah.
You know, he's just like, no, and here are the reasons why I'm saying no, and they all might be reasonable.
Yes.
But he's not he's not involving Carcetti in the solution.
Exactly.
And so, you know, and so that to me just feels like now I'm just making an enemy.
Right.
Or we're now in opposition, and I'm, you know, and also he's completely glossing over the fact that he shined the guy on the last time they were together.
Yes,
you know?
exactly.
So, yeah, I just feel like Royce played this pretty poorly.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a different thing, too. If you say, like, if you can tell me where the money could come from.
Yep.
You know, that's different than the money's all spoken for.
Yeah,
right? Like,
exactly.
Everything is incredibly essential. And I'm sure there's got to be some place that you can take, you know.
Well, exactly. I mean,
he has a really elaborate looking office. Does he need such a beautiful mayor's office?
Well, that's an interesting point. Now, on the other hand, it's like, you know, it's already been built.
That's
so,
true.
You know, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
But, I mean, I'll just bring it up now. So I just feel like if someone comes to you with a problem and you're like just always saying no.
Yeah.
Then the approach is, okay, you know, councilman, what do you suggest? Like, let's talk about what you feel like we can do, and then let's work together and get it done.
Right.
Instead, Royce is like, no, everything's spoken for. It's like, you know, here's the budget. Take a look. Where do you want to cut from? What do we want to cut? And we'll work together on messaging and all that. But,
exactly.
You know, I think he kind of puts it in Carcetti's face of like, do you want to cut, these essential services from your district to solve this bigger problem? And he's trying to like essentially point out Carcetti's kind of not hypocrisy, but naivete in saying, you want money from somewhere, but you don't want to pay for it yourself. So where's it coming from?
Yeah.
If you don't want to pay for it, then who's paying for it? Because somebody's got to.
Right.
And, I think you're right. Like, I don't think Royce is kind of saying it in a, like he's kind of saying it like this is the situation. You can't really do anything about it. But at the same time, he's not willing to work with the guy and making him an ally. He's just sending him out the door as an enemy.
Yes.
So don't just be solution oriented. And if you guys agree at the end of the day, it's like, I guess we're kind of screwed.
And,
it's like
I would never burn a bridge in politics.
Oh my God.
If I was in politics, I would not. I mean, I already say that right now. Don't burn a bridge. But if I was in his position, I would. I'd be really careful.
Yeah. So anyway, and I'm just now thinking a little bit about like the conscience due cost. I wonder if Royce is at all kind of like, all right, you got me. I lied about, lighting a fire, and now I have to like actually come clean about it instead of doing it the first time. And so he's kind of like, that's why he's kind of coming at him this way. But anyway. Conscience is a tricky business. So.
It is.
Anyway, okay.
It is.
Yeah. I'm cutting that from the life.
Keep your conscience clear, and then nothing will cost you anything later.
Exactly.
That was not very well said, but there you go. Okay, so let's talk about the... Oh, wait, no, I'm missing one more thing. One more thing in politics, actually, and this brings back what happened with Bunk and Omar, because we have a press conference. Royce and Burrell are there. Burrell thanks the citizens of Baltimore. Really, he should be thanking Omar because this officer's service weapon has been returned. And he turns it over to Royce, and, he thanks the department, and they hand the gun back to Officer Dozerman, who's not looking so great anymore.
Yep.
He sure doesn't look as nice and chill as he used to in the previous times. Anyhow, so that's what's going on. We've got Landsman there, Forrester, Rawls, they're all there. And now they don't have to worry about that anymore. They don't have to be on Bunk's ass about it anymore. And as this is happening, we have Carcetti typing up his letter about his little meeting and the lack of action from Royce.
Yep.
So there we go.
Yeah, so now
that sums up
the wheels
the
are turning.
politics.
There you go. Okay.
Okay, now I'm going to move into the Western District. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's go.
Okay. So let me see here. We have Herc and another officer who I'm not sure who that is, but somebody.
Yep, it is definitely somebody.
Okay.
God dang it.
Have we seen him before? Will we see
No,
him
I don't.
again?
Actually, I don't think so. Let me. I'll double check. But no, I think you're right. This is he's in the series throughout quite a lot, but I forget his name now. So anyway, keep going.
Well, they are just kind of hanging out and making sure that things are staying good. It's nice and quiet. It's all doing good. Anyways, so
doing good.
It's all good. They're just standing there.
That's true. He's keeping
Bunny and Mello come and check. Is everything's fine? But as they are standing there, a vehicle comes by, and inside the vehicle is Slim, Charles, and Avon. Right. So they see him, and they are in the middle of talking about what they're going to have for lunch when this happens, right? Like cheesesteaks or whatever. But Herc sees Avon, and he's like, "Wait, what the heck's going on?" And they're like, "What?" And he's like, "That's a guy I locked up. Remember I told you about him a couple of years ago? I worked on this detail, and this big guy." They're like, "Well, the other guy, whatever his name is like." Well, how long was he supposed to be in? He says, I don't know, like 6 or 8 years. Maybe I got it wrong because this has only been 2 years, right?
Yep.
And he says, the point is like he's an asshole, I think is what he says, locked him up. And then this other guy is just like, out of nowhere, just like, pit beef from the market.
Yep.
He's like, yeah, now you're thinking like police. So it's kind of weird. Like, I just didn't buy in this moment, however, that Herc worked on this detail that is so huge with this top drug boss in Baltimore, and can't remember what his name is.
Well,
I mean, maybe it's just Herc being Herc, but it just didn't seem like very. I had a hard time buying it. That he just doesn't recognize him or whatever. But
police sitting on all corners over these parts, likely because we've been dropping bodies.
Yeah, they do like that. But you know, tomorrow some other nigga stop a bullet somewhere else and then they'll go stand on a new spot.
Boy Marlo closed up shop. Word is, he wholesaling his packages for now.
He ain't got no crews out here at all. How about his Avenue corners? Nigga give up quick, didn't he? Damn, I was just beginning to respect the little motherfucker for showing heart. All right, listen. When them police roll out, y'all step in there and take my corners.
Morning, B.
Cheesesteaks from Bill's.
Nah, I did that Tuesday, man.
Fuck it then, you pick.
Nah, fuck me.
What?
Open the truck.
What about him?
Think I locked him up.
Yeah?
Yeah, Avon, what's his face? Big player from the projects. He's the target on that detail I worked a couple of years back. The one I told you about. Motherfucker's is out already.
Wow, what'd he pull?
Oh, 6, 8 years? Who the fuck can remember?
And he's helping too?
Maybe I got the years wrong. My point is, guy's an asshole. Locked him up as well.
it's interesting. I mean, it might be hitting it a little bit too hard,
Maybe.
but I think it just goes to show just kind of what police officer Herc is, right?
Yeah,
I mean, again, we
that's
go
true.
back to
That's true.
You know,
he's a little more obsessed with what's up for lunch.
right? Exactly. And you ever heard of Anthony Little? Who No Heart Anthony?
No
who
Heart
Anthony
Anthony.
Little? And he just names his apartment number and all that stuff.
Yeah,
and that's
not
just
that
that's a good cop. That's good police. That's good goddamn police. Whereas you have Herc, who just can't remember
Right.
anything. He's
Avon,
like,
what's his face?
Yeah, 6-8 years. Who the fucking remember? Yeah. So
Oh my gosh.
anyway, yeah. I mean, but in any case, so I did look it up. The other officer is Lloyd quote Truck Garrick. Garrick. So which
Okay.
I swear to God, I don't think I
Truck.
ever caught his name.
Okay, well now we got
So
Truck.
there you go. So you
Truck
got
works
Lloyd
in the West Room.
Truck. So anyway, yeah. So but yeah, as you said, like it is pretty funny though that Herc just like he spends a year on this case.
I know.
It's the only person in the case that you're trying to get, and you can't remember the guy's name. So
The guy that was at the top of the cork
Yeah,
board that
yeah.
Prez and Freeman are always updating.
yeah,
Ugh.
yep. So
Wild.
anyway, but yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, Colvin's in his office and he's talking about the statistics with Mello and another guy there, another sergeant there. And, Colvin's kind of listening to this. He's wanting to make sure everything that he is hearing, the numbers that he's hearing, are correct. Because what they find out is that they're down 2%. And what Colvin really wants to know about those numbers is where are the numbers lower. And so they said, larcenies and burglaries are steady, but shootings and aggressive assaults are down, drug arrests too. But he's like, no, geographically, where in the district is it down? And so all of the posts that are near the drug zones, the free use zones, are up, but everywhere else is down.
Yep.
Right, as much as 4%. And that's what we saw previously. We saw people in the neighborhoods and they're outside sitting on their stoops, and kids are playing outside too, riding their bikes. So, Mello's like, oh, the bosses are really gonna love you. And he's not ready to talk about it yet.
Yeah.
He says this could be just some kind of an anomaly. It could be something else. So we need to just keep on watching it. But he does decide to sort of reallocate the officers that he has. He says, if we are having fewer crimes, then we should do better with what crimes we have and how we handle those. So really great. It sounds good. Sounds really good.
Yeah.
I hope it can keep going.
Well, and I think so. There's something really smart, I think, about what Colvin is approach. Not only his approach of being innovative, but of course he is now already prepared to respond to what he's seeing as like a positive trend, even if he's not necessarily sure that he doesn't want to celebrate too much just yet. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, and then but he's using essentially the CompStat discipline to make improvements to
Right.
continue to affect positive change. So
Right.
yeah.
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 Okay, well, this next scene was, whew, this is intense, dude.
Okay.
I kept thinking this was a dream.
Okay.
Honest to God, I kept thinking this was a bad trip or a dream. I'm
Okay.
like, no, this is real.
Oh yeah.
Because what we have here is Bubbles he's been selling his white t-shirts, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he is now in Hamsterdam selling his white t-shirts, got them tees and 1 for $3 or 2 for $5. And as he's going, drugs are being sold. There's loud music going on and people acting like just crazy, right? And he has somebody that says, hey, what do you have? What are you selling? He tells him he's got the teas. The other guy's like, do you have candles? I need candles and I need toilet paper for our poop bucket. And he says, I can't leave because if I leave, somebody will take my spot, right? And so he says he'll be back tomorrow. And then he sees Johnny, and Johnny is messed up.
Yeah.
Johnny looks terrible. He's super duper high and he looks just awful, like unclean and sick. And so, Bub sees that and he's instantly worried about Johnny and how he looks. And Johnny tells him, he's just been smoking and he's now digging and scratching at his arms, but it's okay. And Bubs tries to tell him that he needs a break. I mean, all of this is just like so. This like is so dark, and it just is like scary. Like it's like a zombie movie. People coming out of shadows, and they look just like, oh my god. So he tries to tell him you need to take a break. You need to not do this. And Johnny says, no, this is the soldier's paradise is what he says. This is great. And while this is going on, he's coughing. There's like, yelling. There's glass breaking. All this stuff. And he tells Bubs that he's a Viking.
Yep.
Right. Like he is just just so strong. Like
Right.
he can do anything.
Yeah.
Right. And anyhow, we have Herc and Colicchio and Carver, right?
Yep,
They're
yep.
there too. And there is a fight that's going on. One thing that we do notice is there's a lot of kids there, young people there, right?
Yep.
And a fight starts up and Carver's kind of trying to get them to come help. He says, what, are you guys going to come? And Herc is like, no, he said to bring him here. He didn't say that we need to, babysit him or anything like that. He says they're animals.
Right.
And so Carver goes over by himself. He kind of reminds them about the rules. What did we tell you about fighting? Like the only rules we have is no fighting, no cutting, no shooting, and y'all still fuck it up.
Yeah.
And they say, next time I come down here, see if I don't call for a 1038, which is an ambulance, and breaking up the fight.
Yep.
That whole scene was just, woo,
Oh yeah.
crazy.
So-
Like in the beginning, until we saw Herc and Carver and them, I was thinking like, is this a dream Bubs is having?
Yeah.
But he's walking through this kind of Amsterdam, but no, it's real. That's what Amsterdam is like now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so and I just realized I'll have to come back to it about the ripple effects from Omar, but so I'll come back to it a little bit later. But in this situation, this is now we're seeing this initial effect of, well, we've made this a free zone, but now there's like, and you think that Colvin thought, well, we just have police officers stationed, so it should be okay.
Yeah.
But of course,
Right.
now people are going to test the, boundaries and, and now you have children that are, unoccupied
Right.
essentially. And, what do they say? The
They have nothing to
idle
do.
hands or the devil's
Yes,
workshop. So,
yes.
so they're going to do what they're going to, kind of at their, what's at their instinctive level.
Yeah.
And then, so this is the first of several comments from Herc about referring to the people as animals. Yeah. So, which is just, it now to me, it feels the break between Carver and Herc is now very
I did not
very
think
clear.
I was going to ever come to appreciate Carver, but he really is. You just see this change in him starting in this episode.
Yeah, where he sees humanity. And still,
yes,
yeah.
exactly. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. And then just to go back to Bubbles for a second. So the question that came to mind is, do you think that Bubbles sees Johnny as, do you think that he feels responsible for what has happened to Johnny?
I don't don't know. I mean, a little bit, but he tried. He really did try. And Johnny did not want to be involved with being a CI.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what else he could have done really to help Johnny.
Okay.
But I mean, does that change how he feels? He probably still does feels some responsibility just because he's so much younger than Bubbles. But I don't know.
No,
I don't know. He does say that he's like the laziest white boy, that you've ever met.
That's true.
So what more can you do? You can.
Yeah, I think you're right. Okay, so he was. Yeah, I that's right. I think that probably last episode with the ladder caper.
Yeah.
That's when Bubbles was like, okay,
Yeah.
we're done.
Yeah.
So okay, so there was that kind of come on. I was just trying to I wonder if he feels some kind of guilt. Meanwhile, it just reminds me of what Waylon said about his nephew, and he says you got to wait until they see that bottom coming up. And like Johnny, just
He's
is no
not there.
bottom.
Yeah.
Clearly he's just like, this is
He's not
my
there.
life forever and ever.
Yeah.
And it is interesting. Two things. Number one, Soldier's Paradise. Like, it's fascinating that Johnny, I feel like if you're a drug addict, you're taught that you're a soldier. I mean, and Bodhi calls Bubbles a soldier in season 2, in the tower scene. And it's interesting to think about, that they have this sort of, they project this sort of image onto someone who's in the game just as a drug addict, but you have no agency at all, So there's that component. And then calling himself a Viking, it's just kind of like almost like a soldier on kind of an elevated level too, which is so it's just fascinating that they have these images, and of course but you look around and it's just absolute. Just the worst environment you can imagine.
It's hell.
So exactly. Yeah.
It's
so,
a hell.
Yeah, I will tell you there are no dream sequences in The Wire.
Okay.
At all, so
Well,
don't
that's good.
ever
Okay.
just in case you ever see something in the future. But no, but you're right though. The camera work and the way that it's
that
the
he's
lighting and everything, it's
centered,
absolutely it definitely looks. It's one of the. It stands out as being definitely a different presentation from the rest of the show.
Really nightmarish.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the next morning, Carver and Herc are switching shifts with Colicchio, and I guess that's Truck in Hamsterdam, and they kind of ask how it went overnight, and I think they tell them there was a midnight shift that had to toss a crew that was casing the place, which I don't really know what they mean by that. Like, was somebody coming through and trying to steal money from all of the dealers? Oops.
Oops, sorry. It's all good. Just a phone. It's no big deal.
Fell down. Okay.
Yeah. So, the way I read it was that they were going through and they were looking at how they could essentially steal, knowing that there was nobody armed or something.
Yeah, okay, got you. Okay. All right. But they say, there was that, but really the issue is that there's so many kids here. And, they point out why would you need lookouts and runners when things are legal, that they've been cut loose by their dealers. And oh my gosh, this is the animal comparison, right? And Herc talks about, when you mess with the environment and a species gets fucked out of its habitat. Carver is impressed with his use of the word habitat, but the rest of us are just unimpressed with his comparison.
Yep.
Anyhow, they check in with a dealer that's there, and he says, did you let your lookouts go? And he says, yeah, and I let my runners go too. What's the point? And Carver points out, you're making tons of money and you can't take care of what is your workforce. And the guy says, I don't need them anymore. But he reminds them that they need him, right? And so it was all okay when, you couldn't actually sell any drugs without these guys. But now, you're okay to just leave them to their own defenses.
Yep.
And so he institutes a new tax initiative, and he tells him, he just comes up with it kind of on the spot, if you want to sell drugs here from this point on, you guys all need to kick in 100 a week. And they think that it's for him, that he's going to pocket the money. And he says, no, just, give me the money and I'll be back. And the guy's like, is this something that I could go to jail for? It's like, while he's selling drugs.
Yeah.
This is something I'm going to go to jail for. So, yeah, this is the start of Carver becoming kind of an impressive person. I like it.
Quiet overnight?
Midnight shift had to toss a crew that was casing the place, but other than that,
too many damn children.
What do you need lookouts and runners for if the shit is legal? A lot of them have been cut loose by the dealers.
It's like one of those nature shows. You mess with the environment, some species get fucked out of their habitat.
Did you just use the word habitat in a sentence?
I did. Let your lookouts go, huh?
Runners too. Shit, what's the point?
So here you are making money hand over fist and you're too damn greedy to take care of your workforce.
I don't need them.
But they need you, right? You was all they had when you couldn't work a corner except for touts and runners. Then it was cool to have them cut school, work out. Okay, new tax initiative, my brother.
Say what?
If you want to sling in Hamsterdam after today, you and every other knucklehead, you each got to kick in 100 a week.
Oh, so you trying to get paid, huh?
Not me. Not for me. Get the cash up, I'll be back.
Shall we keep going? Is there anything you wanted to share?
I mean, just that it's a fascinating kind of look at like the microcosm of society. I think, right?
Yeah, for
I mean,
sure.
essentially, what Carver
It's like
is
his own
creating.
biodome.
Well, I wasn't going to quite stick with that,
Biological hazard dome,
but you know, the way I look at it is that, you know, essentially, this is a social. He's creating a new social safety net, essentially, and so whenever you think about like a social safety net, it's fascinating because, of course, it's like these are children, right? And if they could do something more, they probably would, but they have nobody to guide them, nobody to kind of push them, you know, and so not to take it too far, but I just think it'd be fascinating if like, if these dealers were like, okay, listen, you can sit here and I'll pay you, you know, X dollars a day just to sit here, or you can go to school and I'll pay you a little bit more if you just get out of here and aren't in the way or whatever, you know. And it's like you kind of put it back in the hands of the people paying essentially the taxes. So anyway, it's a really, you know, I think it's very easy to look at this and kind of expand it to, you know, society as a whole. Where are the cracks in the system and how do we help those people? And it makes it easy in this situation because it's kids. It's like, you know, kids don't have a lot of agency, and, you know, they were here because they were essentially exploited to begin with. So now you have to help them out. And so this is, again, there's like the second effect of you have this initial push to make selling drugs legal. Which breaks up, as Herc accurately said, like it breaks up the ecosystem a little bit. And then now there's this ripple effect where these kids are unattended. They don't have anything to do. And now we have to figure out how to solve that problem. And so it's, you know, you have a good idea, but you don't actually know like what happens. And now it kind of is out of Colvin's control to some degree. And Carver's trying to help him. But we're going to see kind of where that goes. So it's really fascinating to see how this works.
It is. I love what Carver does with the money that he gets. He comes back and he has set up a basketball hoop. And he says $2.44 goes to the hoop. And then I'm going to round up to $2.50 for my gas. And he says the rest of this.
$6 for gas.
$6 for gas. Oh, the days when we did that. Anyway, so he says the rest of this you have to pay your hoppers. You know, whether you use them or not, you need to pay them this money. Everybody has to do it. And if you don't do it and I find out about it, you're going back out on the street and you're going to get arrested, basically, right? So, you know, he says, you know, that's the least you can do is to look out after your own people. And the guy's like, are you a fucking communist? Which is pretty, I love that, actually, that line. You know, like that the guy knows enough about, you know, the political systems that he can remark that it's like communist, but really it's, you know, social welfare.
It's more socialism than it is communism. So because the guys are still taking home their own money at the end of the day. So.
Exactly. They're not giving it all to the government.
Don't equate the two. Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well,
but sorry, just one last thing about that is that, you know, this is the third comment from Herc where he calls one of the kids a rodent. And it's like just that third comment of, you know, referring to these people as animals. And, you know, it feels like maybe it's a small thing, but I actually think it's really important is that you start looking at these people as animals or as less than,
Yep.
then that's how you're going to treat them essentially. And you're not really looking at about solving humanitarian problem. You're thinking about it as, this is just something I have to contain essentially.
Exactly. So kind of the last thing that happens in the Western, Colvin comes to visit Hamsterdam that night and talks to Carver, and Carver's kind of like, I would be okay with what's happening down here if there weren't so many children. And it's kind of the end of that.
Yeah.
All right. So let's move on to Stanfield.
Okay.
If we can. Marlo and his pigeons. I was like, what? This is kind of interesting. So, we have this scene where we've got Marlo, Partlow.
Yep.
And Snoop.
Right.
And they are checking in with this other guy who seems to run the pigeon coops. And they're talking about the pigeons. I'm not sure why anybody keeps pigeons, really. They just are like pets? Do people like to... Well, I guess some people they race pigeons, like to see how fast they can get to their destinations and stuff. I don't know. Anyways, it kind of took me by surprise that it was such a strange thing to see that Marlo is raising pigeons. Do you know if that's based on anything?
I actually
real?
don't. I'll have to look it up. But I don't know.
It's so particular. It's so interesting. We had the thing with Ziggy and the, getting his duck, and now we've got Marlo and his pigeons.
That's a really interesting question.
I don't know. Somebody really enjoys domesticated fowl. That makes this show. That's all I can say.
Yeah, I mean, and I think there's something really kind of fascinating about just listening to the guy's name. I don't know his name. The guy who's keeping the coop. Yeah. But listening to like how he's kind of taking care of it, and Marlo is like impressed with the way that he is. Training the pigeons, or the pigeons
they're
kind of
taking care of their youngins, and that they're the pigeons are really loyal, and they won't leave their nests. And I mean, it is a comparison for what Marlo is like, right? Like he is staying in his territory, and he's not going to leave. So, anyways, they kind of talk about what's happening on the corners right now. They have a lot of police still there, a lot of activity going on, and so. He says he's just going to continue wholesaling his drugs and not going to the street corners where he has been before. And he does point out Barksdale's going to think that he's being weak because he's not coming out. But then once the police leave the corners and Barksdale moves in, that's when he is going to enlist Snoop.
Yep.
It looks like. So I was kind of curious to see what Snoop was going to be like.
Yep.
And we end up finding out pretty soon.
Yeah.
So I think I will move into Barksdale before what's going on with the Barksdale organization before I finish up with that.
Water fresh. You keeping them cool? You got squeakers nesting squabs. Taking care of the youngins. I like seeing that.
Yeah, Marlo. He's real loyal. Can't think about that nest.
It's good work. It's really good work.
Police coming off them corners.
I seen. I'm gonna keep my name off the package for a time. I'm gonna keep wholesaling. Step back a bit.
Barksdale gonna think we weak. Not coming out to claim what's ours. Police leave them corners, he's gonna be back out there.
I know he will. Your turn, girl.
It's about time. For real.
Okay, so the one thing I'll just add here though is that the last season, Stringer was trying to encourage Avon to wholesale his package that he was getting from Atlanta because it was not good quality, and Avon was like, "What do I look like, Kmart?" And
that's a good point.
and so Avon was being very prideful.
Right.
And it kind of boxed Stringer into an impossible situation for himself.
Whereas Marlo's being smart about
Exactly.
it.
Meanwhile, Marlo's not bringing his pride into it, and instead he's luring essentially Barksdale into the exact position that he needs him to be, which is it's a bit of a chess move, this, and so, just pretty fascinating to think about that. So, I don't know if you would call pride and conscience to be the same thing, but it does feel like in a way like that's what it is here. Is that Barksdale, by kind of feeding his pride, ultimately costs him. So So
okay. Well, let's now go to Avon's threat, and Stringer sweats and frets.
Okay.
Okay. So we've got Bernard. Have we seen Bernard before?
No.
Okay. So Bernard has delivered some disposable burner phones to Shamrock at the funeral home where they have set up their shop. And then Shamrock says, and as we recall, Stringer gave Shamrock this job after he had gone to visit Donette that one time. He says, you're going to be in charge of this from here on out, right? And so Shamrock tells Bernard that they're going to need another 60 more in a couple of days. And Bernard's like, what? And Shamrock's like, you know how we do, so don't be crying, Bernard.
Yep.
So Bernard does what he is told, and he starts traveling about to different places to get the burner phones. And each time he can only buy 2 from each location. So even when he is offered like a better deal for more of them, he still just buys 2. And while he's doing this, he has his girlfriend, Squeak, is that what she said? Who was with him, and she is constantly just haranguing him about how much time they're spending doing this and how many phones he's buying at a time. She says that he's a fool for driving all over when they don't need to. And he says, keep it up and I'm going to leave you in Baltimore. So they just kind of go back and forth. She is just wonderfully annoying. I mean, she really does. I mean, the lines between those two, they're delivered a little woodenly, in my opinion.
Yeah, a little bit.
But it's so funny,
yeah.
And she is such an outrageous character that it's pretty forgivable.
Yeah.
So, all right. So they keep on going. Did you want to say anything before?
I feel like she's carrying her weight in the scenes,
for sure.
Whereas Bernard, I feel like he's a little more stiff.
He is. He definitely is. So they go to another place, and you start the radio lets you know where they are.
Yep.
So this next time they're in, he says, DC's number 1, WPGC. And, she's like, where are we? And she tells him, buy more of them. And, he's not going to. And she says she wants a Shrek Slurpee and a Krispy Kreme. And if they keep this up, she's going to gain so much weight. And again, she's just so much, just being annoying, just continuing to harangue him.
Yep.
When they are in the vehicle, she does pull out of his, I think it's his glove box. She sees a gun and she's like, why you got a gun, Bernard? And he says, now that Avon's home, we're tooling up. And she says, you ain't the only one on parole. So she's been in trouble herself. All right. So they're just getting on each other's nerves.
Oh, yeah, you keep this job, I'm gonna gain some serious weight. Just the 2?
Just the 2.
Nigga, you ain't never heard of buying in bulk? You could be saving them people all kind of money, better still spending it on me. Why you got a gun, Bernard?
You ain't heard? Avon's home, so we tooling up.
You ain't the only one on parole.
Well, you ride my last good nerve.
That ain't the only thing I can ride.
Way back to the interstate.
Yeah, I mean, her face when she pulls out each phone.
Yeah.
God, so
she's
good.
just like,
huh?
what?
Just, oh my God, so good. Yeah, and then why you got a gun? And I just thought it was there was a connection between Avon's home, so we're tooling up, which is kind of what Marlo said, tell our people to tool up. So it's just interesting to think about like these two soldier mentalities kind of fighting each other. So
All right, well, they go to deliver the phones, and Shamrock tells them that they are going to need another 30 by Monday. And while this is going on, Bernard delivers the receipts, and Shamrock is on the phone with somebody. I don't even know what he's talking about. It's so crazy. He says, everything I say, you hear backwards.
You hear backwards, yeah.
And he just throws the receipts right into the garbage. And so she notices that.
Yep.
And then the next time that they go out, this time they're in Richmond. I looked it up. I was just curious. Like, Richmond's like 2.5 hours from Baltimore.
Sure.
I mean, this is a long ways that they are driving. No wonder she feels like they are driving all over the world. They really are. And she tells him, I saw he threw all of the papers in the trash. And he doesn't believe her. She says, you are the only one that cares about doing this job right. Nobody else cares. She calls him a stupid MRFer. Like, I don't know why they're together. They seem to hate each other. And anyways, so just to convince him to buy more, she offers to give him oral sex.
Yep.
And he just goes for it.
Yep.
So now they are buying more phones from locations, which I think we're going to, we'll get into prediction zone, but I think that Major Crimes is going to be figuring out something to do with these.
I seen him, but nah, you hadn't even gone past the damn door and he threw all them papers in the trash.
She was lying now, I could tell.
You is the only one who gives a fuck. And if you hadn't been the stupidest motherfucker that I ever gone out with, you just would have put a whole bunch of them things at once.
Only need like 6 more, would be done in like a half an hour.
How about we make one more stop, you get 6 of them shits, and I suck your dick for the next 20 minutes.
Okay. Yeah, I'll write that down.
Okay.
Yeah, without going to, if you've been listening at all, you know that when sex comes up as a topic, I try to run away as fast as possible, but I have to I do have to make my comment, which is just, first of all, ladies, if you ever need something, oral sex is as good an exchange that there is. So, just wanted to point that out. So it's Squeak knows a good exchange rate.
Oh my gosh.
And then of course, which also says most men are very weak.
Yes.
When it comes to that.
Pretty weak.
And so, of course, the interesting part of it is Stringer he spread himself too thin in that he's got to cover Donette. He's working on the condos. He can't control the receipts anymore. So he hands it off to Shamrock. Shamrock doesn't
quality
care.
Control.
And so, and of course, now here's the opportunity as Ellie has pointed out. So so then, now I'm just gonna also point out Squeak sucking his dick for 20 minutes. Why? It's not a duration thing. I would think it's an objective thing. It's
exactly.
all okay. So okay.
Now let us go again really fast, but who knows? Who knows? He's young.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the refractory period is what it is. But let's run away from that conversation as fast as possible. Sorry about that, Ellie.
It's okay. You mentioned Stringer's got too much going on, and this is just an example of that because they are having dinner at her place, and Donna is talking about her interaction with Brianna and says, Brianna just wants me to be happy, and I want her to be happy, and I try to help her when I can help her, just like the thing with the police detective, she wants me to go downtown with her and hear this guy out about what happened with Dee, even though I told her there was nothing to it. And Stringer instantly is like, whoa, you told her about that visit from McNulty? And she says, yeah, of course I told her. That is her son. Why would I not tell her about that? And he gets instantly upset. He's banging on the table throughout this. We've seen him do this before with her. And he tells her, you're making her upset over something that isn't anything. And everybody has let go of this. Everybody's moved on. But you've got to bring this back up. And she's just kind of dumbfounded. She's like, but, what? It's her son. What?
Right.
Why? And she tries to apologize. And he won't hear it.
Yep.
He says, what mother doesn't want to believe that her son didn't kill himself?
Mm-hmm.
And he asks, when did you tell her about this? She says it was a week ago. And he asks, when is she going to go see the cop? And she tells him that Brianna's going to go to see the lawyer first, Levy.
Mm-hmm.
And, he's just an asshole in this. I mean, he's made the situation. She did nothing wrong, obviously, but he's got to make her feel like she did.
Absolutely.
So
She just wants me to be happy, And I mean, I do the same for her when I can. Like this thing with the police detective. Brianna says she wants me to go downtown with her and, I don't know, hear the man out about Dean. And I know there ain't nothing to it, but she is all upset, And I tried to tell her what you told me. But she says she want to go down there and talk to him herself, I guess.
You told her about the cop?
What?
About the detective. What you told me, you told her?
It's her son, right? Man, she got a right to know what's going on. Look, I just thought...
What? Why the fuck you gonna get all upset over some bullshit? Here we are, fucking year later. Everybody forgot about the shit. You go running your mouth about nothing at all?
But Strange...
What, and she gonna believe that shit too? I mean, what mom's is not gonna believe her son didn't kill himself?
Strange...
Huh? She gonna take that shit? Go half crazy with it?
I just...
You just what?
Sorry.
You tell her that.
About a week ago, I guess.
I mean, she gonna go see the cop.
Think she's gonna talk to a lawyer first, ask him how to play it.
Who, Levy?
I guess whoever. The lawyer.
Levy?
I guess.
Oh, you didn't ask that?
Yeah, I mean, and this is the most prominent ripple effect of
Yeah.
what he did, right?
Yes.
This is all his doing.
This is all his doing.
And now it's completely out of his control now.
yeah.
And so, yeah, and he's
You
just
would
like...
think, hey, I mean, when she tells him about this in the first place, maybe he would say, let's not bring this up with Brianna. It would probably be really upsetting for her.
Yeah.
But he didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's got too much going on with his, his real estate and all that.
Yeah, I mean, and of course, when, if you think about it objectively, it doesn't make any sense, or it's the biggest of reaches to say he's so upset for Brianna. No, he's not.
No, he's not.
He is not upset for Brianna. And like anybody, obviously we know this as knowing all we know, but even then you're like, dude, why are you getting so upset? This is Brianna's thing.
He's
I mean, they're kind of
the table. You're so upset.
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Well, Stringer goes to talk to Levy and finds out that Brianna indeed has spoken to him. And he says, did you tell her that she could go downtown? He says, of course, that's her son. What was I going to do? You know, if she just goes there and just listens to them, hears them out, it's not a big deal. And Stringer says, no, this is really messed up and it's not okay. And Levy says, what do you want me to do? Stringer says, can we file a complaint against this guy that he's harassing them? This is the same guy that had Avon's case. He's just, trying to get at us more and more on different things. And Levy tells him that's not going to make a difference.
Yeah.
That if he says that it's potentially a suicide, she's going to hear about it. Doesn't matter.
Yep.
And he does say, I suppose Avon should know about it, though. And Stringer tells him that he will handle that.
Yeah.
Like he handles everything.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So, no, there's not really much else to say. But as you said, except to say that, yeah, so this is Stringer trying to put the toothpaste back in the tube, but it's already out. And Levy, I love Levy's, the way he handles it, because he's just like, very matter of fact because he knows that there's nothing to be done. Like it's just there's no point in getting upset about it because what are you gonna do?
Yep.
So this is the way that so might as well get mad about the sun rising or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Okay, let's see here. So, oh my gosh, yeah. Ooh, this is getting to some scary stuff here. This is about when I texted you, Chris.
Okay.
So we've got Slim Charles assigning Poot to one of the corners that Marlo formerly was occupying. And he does give him some muscle. I think he gives him 2 guys, right?
Yep.
And Poot's really worried. He says that the cops might come back. And Slim Charles tells him, when they do, they do. But otherwise, you stay on this corner. And then he asks about Marlo's crew. And he says, Avon's here. And you're on what was a Barksdale corner, right? So you don't need to worry about that. And calls him little man, which I think is funny because Slim Charles is huge.
Right, yeah.
And Poot is short. And then later on at the corner, one of the guys goes in, I think, to go get something from the corner store there.
Yep.
And when he does, he's one of the muscle guys. Snoop comes on the back of a motorcycle. Is it Partlow who's driving it?
I assume.
Yeah. And just bang, 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 bang. Start shooting at the corner. They go falling to the ground. Poot flies to the ground basically. And there is the scene where there is just blood pooled underneath the both of them. And the other guy, comes out and he's just like, oh my gosh.
Yep.
And that's right. I just thought that they killed Poot. I was just like, what an unceremonious end. What did he do to deserve such an unceremonious end? There's no lead up. I just, but no, he was okay. He got up.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh my God, that's the end of Poot.
Yeah.
I really thought they killed him.
Okay.
For a minute there. That was really scary.
Yeah.
But he's alive. The other guy is dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, and it played out exactly as kind of,
exactly
Marlo predicted, and Avon and Slim didn't see it coming, and yeah, so yeah. I mean, I was always I always wondered why Poot is lying there with his eyes closed. That seems like would that really be what you did, or would you just be lying there? But
fake it that quickly?
But I guess you can go into shock as well. Yeah. Like even he maybe it's almost like you fainted, some kind of thing. Yeah. So anyway, yeah. So yeah, I was glad to see Poot get up though.
Me too. I mean,
rest in peace. Muscle guy, whatever.
The other muscle man.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm ready to move on to major case unit.
All right.
If you are.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, so let's see here. Oh yeah, that's right. Daniels is telling everybody that now they have new targets, and the targets are Stringer Bell and Marlo Stanfield, and all that work that they had done up to this point on Quintel is gonna go up on a shelf. And a couple of them are really upset. Sidner and Prez are just like, what? Are you kidding? Like, we've been working on this for months. We could just, have a few more weeks of work, and then we could go to the grand jury with this. And Daniels tells them this comes from the commissioner and deputy ops, and that they are being really reactive right now because of the murder rate being so high. And, Freeman kind of adds a little bit of justification to that, saying, 2 months ago, Quintel was dropping bodies, but now it's on the west side that it's happening. You feel for Sidner, who was sitting up, he said, on a roof day after 90-degree day, dodging swarms of cicadas. And you kind of see McNulty's and Kima's faces.
Yeah,
and they're just
exactly.
Kind of like, oh, yeah, this really sucks. Yeah. And then Daniels asks for McNulty to come to his office. And before he does, McNulty stops by Prez's desk and asks him who rented a room in downtown Hilton the Thursday before last. And he wants address, credit card details, whatever he can pull. Prez wants to know what that has to do with what they're doing. And he says, hard to say just yet.
Yeah, I just thought the notice of the... All right.
Yeah.
I guess.
It's stalkery.
All right, maybe so.
I don't like it.
Okay. No, I think you're probably... You're right. You're probably right. No, this I feel like is a good question for the listener. What do you think? Is it stalkery to go to find out the person, or is
it kind of cute and charming?
This is like Facebook before Facebook, right? It's like So I thought it was just funny how they mentioned the cicadas again.
Yes,
because Bunk said that to Omar. And
that's right.
Sitting having to dodge cicadas. So, but yeah, I take your point though. I don't know. Teresa didn't give him her phone number, so
yeah. Well, we'll see what happens with all this.
Yep.
Anyway, shall we move on?
Let's go.
Okay, so let me see here.
So McNulty and Daniels.
Yes, we've got McNulty and Daniels. McNulty's in the seat as you're asking, and so clearly Daniels has asked if you went to the higher ups, and McNulty tries to deny it. Daniels tells him, hey, if the bosses tell me to do something, that's fine. I do that. I do what I got to do. And if it comes down to something with our people and they get hurt, like what happened with Kima, then I will do whatever we have to do. But I don't have any respect for people going behind my back. And he says, I want the truth. Did you go to Colvin? And McNulty doesn't have, he has no problem telling him that he would have gone to the devil himself, and the way that you were standing had nothing to do with it. And Daniels calls him a piece of shit, and McNulty stands even firmer and says it had to be done. I had to do it 2 years ago with Barksdale, and he wanted Stringer then, and I'm doing it because it's the thing that has to be done this time. And he tells him that hey, you got me off a boat, that's great, you're better than most bosses, but now we are doing what we should be doing. And Daniels tells him that when they do get Stringer, that he needs to go find a new home. He will no longer be in Daniels' unit.
Yeah.
So, man, that guy, talking about burning bridges, again, comes up over and over again. Really, McNulty just burns every relationship, good, worthy relationship he has for the job, for what he thinks the job should be.
Yeah.
Ugh.
You're asking? I am.
Well, Lieutenant, I didn't...
Because I got no problem changing targets if that's what the bosses tell me to do. Unless it's personal, like when Kima got shot. I don't care where we spend our time and money. Bell, Williamson, whoever, it's all just police work to me. And I understand that people above my pay grade have the right to make decisions that are theirs to make.
And if they're wrong?
Then they're wrong, and time will tell, won't it? Now I'm asking you for the truth. You went to Colvin, behind my back.
I'd have gone to the devil himself. Which way you were standing, Lieutenant, had not a fucking thing to do with it.
You piece of shit.
I did it because it had to be done. Just like it had to be done 2 years ago when we were first detailed. Stringer was the target then, he's still the target now. Lieutenant, as bosses go, you're better than most. And I know you went out of your way to get me off that boat. I know that, but now we're back on the right man.
Detective McNulty, when the cuffs go on Stringer, you need to find a new home. You're done at this unit.
Yeah.
What a narcissist.
Oh, well, no question about it. I was trying to figure out, is this the conscience due cost comment I'm trying to figure out here?
Yeah.
The fact that when Daniel says you piece of shit. So first of all, got to mention that to me was a callback to when Daniels is talking to Carver at the end of season 1, and he says some are going to be pieces of shit.
Oh God.
And they're figuring the game for themselves.
Oh.
And this is essentially McNulty doing that. Just now, he might have maybe good intentions, but it's still not. The Daniel's kind of whole premise is that you show loyalty. They know they learn loyalty.
Right.
You know, and Daniels is trying to do the right thing by the bosses. He's trying to do the right thing by keeping the murder rate down. And McNulty's like, I'm just doing this for my own purposes. Even if you think that you're righteous in your pursuit, you know, McNulty did, you know, just do it for himself, which makes him a piece of shit in Daniel's eyes, and I think quite rightly so.
Yep.
I also think that Daniel's calling him a piece of shit and then just remaining completely silent the whole time is so great, because McNulty's like trying to like talk his way back into good graces and whatever, and Daniel's is just sitting there, and you just have to sit there and just keep talking, and then
just
finally he's like, okay, well, I guess I'm done. So, you know, whatever like little bit of, you know, praise McNulty throws at Daniels had no effect at all. And then that Detective McNulty, that's just, you know, that's just a, you know, I don't want to be on the wrong side of that ever.
No.
So, anyway, all right.
No way.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, I love that scene.
It's good. So yeah, it's intense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Well, Freeman and Prespolowski are looking at the phone, looking at the data from the phone that Bubs got for them. And it's the burner phone.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, they are kind of talking about how it was one of the ones that was used by Marlo's people. And they explain that it's just raw data.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, if they knew, let's see here, this was a little bit hard for me to understand. A phone from, if they had a phone from Barksdale people, they would be able to map out the organization with everything that they already know. But they still can't figure out how to get a wiretap up because these guys just trash the phone constantly. And so they say, you know, like in a week, it's old, the network is completely gone. So that's just sort of what they seem to be dealing with.
Yeah.
And I still cannot figure out how they will do that part.
Okay.
I mean, when I think about like I mean, I don't want to get into my predictions too much, but I'm just trying to think about like how do they get on the other side of the burner phone before it's distributed to do that.
Excellent question.
Anyhow, shall we move on?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, so we've got McNulty and Sidner and Greggs, and they are again back to surveillance because what they need is to get a phone from one of the Barksdale people, and they're kind of watching Bodie and hoping that he will drop it, and they're sort of thinking like, you know, how many more minutes is he going to have on that? And McNulty, I do remember here, that's Greggs Kima recognizes Bodie, McNulty doesn't.
Right.
Anyways, McNulty tells them, forget this, you know, this is too much work. There's an easier way. I will show you tomorrow. Let's go to the bar. And to convince them even further, he says, I'll buy.
Yep.
And then actually after they leave, that's when Avon comes through.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Which I just thought that was I was like, oh, maybe he would have seen it, but then it's like, well, it kind of plays out a little bit later, so you kind of put it off for a little bit.
Yes, yeah. So they apparently tied one on because Kima comes home and she is drunk. She drops her keys. Oh, did I wake the baby up? When Cheryl comes out, Cheryl says, you know, you would know if you woke a baby. Because baby would be crying.
Right.
And she says, you know, it's nice of you to finally check in. Kima says, I went out. I needed to unwind. And Cheryl says, you look unwound.
Yeah.
It is very uncomfortable. Kima says, well, I just figured that you had everything here under control, you know? And Cheryl just calls her on it. It's just like, what is going on? Why are you not talking to me? Why are you gone? And Kima says, do you really want to know? Cheryl says, I do. I'm listening. And Kima says, I miss us. Ugh, that is not okay to say. And Cheryl instantly is upset. She thinks Kima is blaming the baby, which she is. She's blaming the baby for separating them, right? Causing this division between them.
Okay.
I would take it that way.
Okay.
I would take it that way for sure. And Cheryl says, we talked about this. We discussed this. You know, you said that this was good by you. Kima says, I felt like I had to say that because you wanted it so much and I didn't want you to be disappointed or I didn't want you to leave me or whatever. And she says, I could not be more disappointed than I am now. And that's when you hear the baby crying, and she says, "Get out," or she says, "You need to go."
Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, oh man, that's not good.
Did I wake the baby?
You would know if you did. 3 o'clock in the morning, nice of you to check in.
Oh, I went out after work to unwind.
Yeah, you look unwound.
Well, I figured you had everything under control on the home front.
What the fuck is wrong with you? What's with the sarcasm? How come you can talk to everybody else but me?
Do you really want to know?
I'm listening.
I miss us.
Do not blame that baby. Do not do it.
I'm not blaming anybody.
I didn't do this by myself. We discussed it, all of it.
We talked about it, yeah. But I didn't have as much to say about it as you.
And why not?
Because you wanted this. I didn't want to disappoint you on it.
I don't think I could be more disappointed than I am right now. You need to go.
I'm
sad.
Yeah. Well, so that's what I was going to say. Like,
cute.
I had some thoughts, but I was like, no, I gotta let Ellie cook here. What's Ellie?
I don't know. I don't know if there's anything coming back from that.
Okay.
I mean, I just don't. It's kind of. You just told somebody that you didn't want to have a baby with them.
Mm-hmm.
How do you rectify that situation?
I don't know.
How do you?
So, you know, it's an interesting.
I mean, she's not biologically related to the child either, and so it's not. If they separate, it's not like the kid's ever going to be like, "Well, I really want to know what my other biological parent looks like." It is like, I think that could be something that maybe continues to bring them back together, and that maybe Kima will come around. But I just don't, in this situation, she clearly has never developed a bond with the child, and there's nothing to bring her back to develop the bond, and I feel like that's necessary for this relationship to continue.
Because Cheryl obviously has a bond.
Yeah.
And so now it's like, and if you think about the most important person for Cheryl is now the baby.
The baby.
And if Kima is not as invested, then now Kima's on the outside of that relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm rewinding all the way back to the very first parts where it's like, you know, Cheryl was trying to get Kima out of kind of police work.
Yes.
You know, Kima was going to law school or whatever it was she was doing, and then, you know, ultimately, obviously, she gets shot, and then, you know, now it's like, well, I'm inside, and then she still kind of gets drawn into the police work aspect of it, and now there's this other, you know, there's this other life that is now involved, and Kima, you know, was never, you know, she was never invested in the way that, you know, she just sold it. And I'm, you know, so anyway, it's just kind of, you can totally see how it would happen, right? You're like, okay, well, you know, we love each other, and, you know, this person wants a kid, and I want to be with her, and so, like, this is the only way forward, and so, you know.
Well, and I think, too, you know, after you have a partner who has that kind of a near-death experience, maybe that makes you speed through your next phases of life without really doing the work that you need to do to make sure that's the right decision for your relationship. I don't know.
No, I agree. And but as you know, just kind of not to hit the point too hard, but like, this is like, you know, Kima made a decision to go down this path with Cheryl, and now the situation is essentially out of her control.
Yes.
Because you have this third person in their lives, and she can't contain it anymore, and now there's this new dynamic that she doesn't like anymore. So
Okay, well, let's move on, shall we? So Prasbluski is setting up the new board with their targets. Barksdale and Stanfield.
Yep,
Goodbye,
love seeing
Quintel.
the measuring tape come out.
Yep, the measuring tape's so great. And so we've got Stringer and Bodie and Marlo that they're trying to figure out the relationship with everything. And McNulty and Greggs and Sidner come in and they're trying to figure out how they're going to get this new phone. And they look at the phones. They're trying to figure out which color was the one that Bodie had. It was more black than silver. And Sidner's really worried about what's going to happen and how he's going to be involved with that. Okay, so let's see here. We've got Bodie and Puddin'. They are moving into Marlo's territory. And Shamrock then calls to say, hey, let's move into Hamsterdam because we have so many police officers that are around here. We got to get these knockos out of here. And I think this is where Hurt calls one of them a rodent, actually.
Oh, is that right?
I think this might be the situation. Yeah. So, sorry, I won't go too far into that without talking about this other stuff.
All right.
So Bodie then gets everybody together and he tells them we're heading to Hamsterdam. And, oh, no, it's not him that calls him a rodent. It's when they get stopped by McNulty and Greggs.
Yeah.
One of those guys I think McNulty calls him a rodent.
Okay.
I might be wrong.
Okay.
Anyways. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I see it here in the transcript. Not yet. You fucking wrote it. Y'all can't do this, man. We're heading to Hamsterdam. So anyhow, yeah, they get stopped by McNulty and Greggs and they start searching them. And the guys are all upset. They are saying, this is not fair. This is not okay. We should have immunity. We're going to the free zone. And Kima and McNulty are like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And they find a big package of drugs in there all ready to go. And they're like, yeah, that's right. Because we're heading to Hamsterdam.
Right.
And Sinner's like, what are you talking about? Hamsterdam. And anyways, because they feel like the cops are reneging on their promise, things start getting really ugly around them. You hear some glass shattering and it's getting a little bit hairy. Do you want me to stop here?
Well, no, that's because we're going to go through the whole. Yeah,
exactly. So then McNulty calls for some backup. They say that they need, where they are and what they need. They have units responding. And who comes up? It's Herc and Carver and Colicchio and Truck. And they're telling him, hey, they're like, what happened? And they're like, well, we got these G-Pack that was beneath the passenger seat. I mean, the whole reason that they did the stop was because, I should mention this, they were trying to swap out the phone that Bodie had. Right? They took out his burner phone and they put the other burner phone that they got from the detail into his pocket. That was the whole reason that they did this. And it blew up into this whole other thing. And the guys are like, we were on our way to Hamsterdam, and we were told by Colvin that we would have no hassle going there or coming out. And Greggs and McNulty and Sidner are like, what is Hamsterdam? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
And Carver is like, okay, well, we got to figure something out here. So they call up Colvin to come, and they're just kind of looking at Carver like, what is going on, Carver? What is going on? And he just says, basically, the major's on the way.
Yeah.
What the fuck happened? Car stop. Got a G-Pack from beneath the passenger seats.
Yo, we was on our way to Amsterdam. The man said we don't get no hassle coming in or going out. What's up?
What the fuck is Hamsterdam?
I can't let you do this.
Oh, you got a G-Pack.
On the way to the free zone they did. You know the rules.
Yeah, man, and I was trying to tell these people and shut the fuck up.
700 to any unit at the scene at Fayette and Vincent.
Yeah, boss.
Got a situation there?
I can't believe this bullshit.
Yeah, bullshit is right.
I told you to shut the fuck up. Yo, man, you gave us your fucking word. You know you did, man. This is some fucking bullshit.
You're some fucking liars, man.
Carl, will you please tell me what the fuck is going on here?
He just said he's on his way.
Carl?
Oh, man.
That's all they say until Colvin arrives.
Right.
And Colvin, we kind of come into the scene during Colvin's explanation of what's going on. He's telling them about the different sectors, and what's going on there. McNulty's kind of like, what is it's legal? And Colvin's like, of course it's not legal. We just look the other way.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, what? Kima seems really completely offended by this whole decision, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he says, I know that this is hard to hear, but if you went to the worst corners that I had, he starts naming all these corners. He's like, they are empty, right? Crime is down in my district, but I have not worked. This is not coming from the bosses. They don't know about this. This is just me taking some initiative. They're really shocked. And he says, I knew this was going to happen eventually. And I get why this is hard for you to see and to deal with, given how you have taken care of things. And I'm sorry you had to see me give this G-Pack back, right? Like, that was ugly.
Yeah.
I like that line. But he says, I'm almost out of here. And again, it's back to the legacy that he wants to leave.
Yep.
And if I could just have a little bit more time to try to make this thing work, I would really appreciate it. Could you please not go to the bosses?
Mm-hmm.
And Jimmy's like, bosses don't know? Great.
Yeah.
Fuck the bosses.
Right.
Yeah, that is his motto.
Mm-hmm.
So it works A-okay with him.
This one's for Sector 2. Sector 1, I'm using that empty low-rise housing on Winchester. Sector 3, the old coppers plant.
And it's legal to sell here?
It's not legal. You just look the other way is all.
How can you?
I know it hurts your head to think about, but before you decide to lose your mind on this, take a moment, ride around to my corners, my worst drug corners. Edmondson and Price, North and Pulaski, Hollins and Pacey. They're empty. All of them. District-wide, my crime is down 5%.
But do the bosses know?
No, the bosses don't know shit about it. This is just a district commander taking initiative on his own.
Jesus Christ.
I knew it was a matter of time before I bumped into somebody from downtown about this. And I know your natural impulse is to take what you saw back downtown with you, but I gotta ask you.
You legalize drugs.
Look, this is a tactical deployment. We just wait for everything to get settled down here in these 3 zones, and then we move. Look, we make a big show locking everybody up, and then we shut it down. So I had to fuck you up on that arrest. Sorry you had to see me get that run back to G-Pack. That was ugly, I know. But I'm just trying to save what's up to my district any way I can, if I can. And the longer I have before I have to brief the bosses about this deployment...
You got all we needed from the car stop, Major. Don't sweat it. Let me get a word with my old commander. Whenever you bust this place up, they'll go back to their same corners. Besides, you were never much on making a big show.
Just send word, Jimmy. I mean, it's just back to usual. I'm out the door on a pension anyway. But Jimmy, I need more time. I need to be able to rely on you and your people to keep this close.
Bosses don't know, huh?
Yeah, so this is an interesting dynamic for me because you have Kima and you have Sidner, who are on this detail, which is about homicide, right? And keeping the murder rate, investigating murders and that kind of thing. And then you have them finding, a G-Pack worth of drugs,
right?
So that's a lot, obviously, and they're getting upset about essentially looking the other way. So it's just very. Meanwhile, like McNulty's like, as kind of reminds me of season 1 where he's like, I don't give a shit about a possession charge.
Yeah.
Now selling, distributing might be a separate thing, but nevertheless, like that's why it's so easy for him because like, look, I don't.
He cares about the murders,
I don't care about
but
drugs,
Kima's from narcotics.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
I can't remember where Sidner's from.
He came from auto theft.
Oh, okay.
If I remember correctly. And so Cantrell's anyway, and so. It's just it's interesting to think about like how McNulty, it's very easy for him to buy what Colvin's selling.
Yeah.
But for Kima and Sidner, it's going to take a little bit more. They're much more like on the Hurricane, even though they're kind of more evolved, I think, than Hurricane Carver and Colicchio. It's still hard for them to understand why you would do this. So, yeah. The only other thing I would mention is that I don't know why, but for whatever reason, when McNulty is talking to Colvin, they shoot it so that the sun is right behind McNulty's head, and it almost looks like a halo effect. And I don't know. It looks like a very cool little thing. But obviously, McNulty's no angel in this situation.
No,
so
he
that's
is
kind
not.
Of,
he is not.
But it's also nice to see like Colvin is kind of on his own here, and so he gets to confide in McNulty a little bit in trying to explain what's happening here, and just he needs an ally, and McNulty's there for him, which is just kind of a cool dynamic. So,
old bushy top.
Yeah, old bushy top.
It's interesting. I was looking at a current hierarchical organization chart for the Baltimore Police.
Okay.
Don't ask me why. I would like to actually do that for The Wire if somebody has not done it already, because I just am trying to figure out all the different units and who is in charge and who came from where and all that. But they don't have a narcotics unit anymore.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So I think it just is reflective of how that thinking has changed over time.
Yeah.
So anyway, okay. So let me see. They come back to the detail. They give the burner phone of young Bodie Brodus to Freeman and Prez. They see that has speed dial, which is awesome. And then Kima asks Caroline if she has an extra room and if she can stay there. And Caroline just says, ain't no fixing it. And she says it's fixed pretty good, I think. So...
yeah.
Przewalski gives the information he has found on D'Agostino to McNulty, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they find out that she is with the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee, and that she's, that it's in Northwest Washington. Doesn't sound like a West Baltimore name. Prez is still trying to figure out what's going on here. And McNulty uses that number to figure out where she is. So he calls a place, and he's kind of acting like he was supposed to meet up with her. And I'm running late, and her plans might have changed. And then he finds out where she actually is and gets the address of it, and he goes there. Shall I continue?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, so he goes to this place. It is a fundraiser. It's a real fancy schmancy fundraiser. He looks nice, but you can tell he is very uncomfortable in this scene. He goes to the bar. He asks for a Jameson, and they say that they have Bushmills, which I guess is Protestant whiskey. But the price is right.
Yep.
And then he sees her. She sees him, and she's talking to another man. And she comes over. She's like, "Oh, what are you doing here?" He says, "Well, I was kind of wondering what I'm doing here too." And she said, I love this. "You drive all the way down here to look at me from across the room and then leave? That's kind of creepy."
Yep.
It's creepy.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. And he says, "Well, you look like you're busy right now." And she looks back at the guy. She's like, "Oh, well, that was just business. Don't worry about it." And he says, "Well, this is not my crowd. I'm going to head out." And she says, she hands her key and says 428, the room number.
Yep.
He wants to know, well, why would you bother booking a room? She says, "Live across town. I don't want to get a Dewey." And to give her 2 hours, and that she'll be up there. And what's he going to do for 2 hours? She tells him to dream on it. Ay.
Although I think that in a way, like it just he read Teresa correctly, right?
Yeah.
She tells him the shit stinks,
sure.
and
Yeah.
you're being creepy right now.
Yes.
Like, this is weird, and
Yeah.
And so anyway, yeah.
Doesn't bother her enough to not sleep.
Well, there's also that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, just a note on Bushmills versus Jameson.
Yes.
So Jameson is based in Dublin,
Okay.
which is Ireland proper,
Right.
And Bushmills is in Belfast, which is Northern Ireland, which is part of the UK,
Right.
And so Ireland is a Catholic country by and
Catholics
large,
versus the Protestants.
and exactly, and
Yep.
so the UK, because of Henry VIII not wanting to get divorced and not
Right.
wanting, the Pope not allowing it created the Anglican Church.
That
so now
is
he's a
right.
Protestant, and therefore I remember my history.
You
so
sure
there
do.
go. So, but only because of I literally only because of Bushmills versus Jameson.
Wow,
that's how I
that's
remember
how
all
you
that. It's
know
like
that? Oh my
Protestant
God.
whiskey. Oh yeah, it's a Protestant. So anyway,
I think I just know that from watching the Tudors.
yeah. So anyway, there you go. So
Okay.
well, as long as you don't remember
Yeah.
because you actually remember from high school and all that stuff. So yeah, but make it neat. Nice way to order a drink. I would
Yes.
say. So.
Well, the next morning, McNulty comes in late, and who's there? We've got Perlman and Daniels. They're getting briefed by Freeman and Prez on the burner phones. And they tell him, the memory holds the last 10 calls made, which gives them a signature. And so they can identify who the user is when the phone gets switched up. And so anyways, they're trying to give them some information. Perlman says that with the burners that they have, the particular company that they use, they don't need subscriber information. And that over 92% of the calls are made with that particular network. And the calls last less than a minute, which indicates that they are for drug trafficking.
Yep.
So, anyways, this is all good stuff. They find out too, something that Prez discovered was that the phones have a speed dial feature. We heard that before. And so what that means is they're programming the phones. They've got to, because there's so many numbers to remember with the phones changing all the time. And Perlman says, that's enough information for me. Let's start writing for the wire. When can we get up? And Freeman's like, get up on what?
Yeah.
Like, they keep on dumping the phones. Even if we got a wire on that, the phones are dead.
Yeah.
So the whole network shuts down. So, they're trying to figure out how to work with this. Freeman says he needs more phones and tells Kima, could you ask the guys at the Western to pick up any phones that they find? And as she does, McNulty's next to her, and she's just like, you smell like sex. You take a shower? He says he's late for work.
Yep.
It's gross. So gross. Anyway, you ready to continue? Or is there anything that you would like to share?
No, I mean, this is just now setting up the problems statement,
Yes.
the obstacle to overcome in very
Yes.
clear detail, I think.
Yes. Okay, well, McNulty and Kima meet up with Herc and Carver to ask this favor. They say, hey, Freeman wants you to pick up any of those phones that you find on the corners. And Herc's like, well, do you want the Barksdale's license plates too? Tag numbers and all? And they're like, yeah, well, whatever. And Herc says, because I saw him the other day in a truck. I didn't get his tags, but if I see him again, and are you talking about Stringer? And they're like, no, the other guy. Again, who? Which other guy? The big boy. Avon Barksdale. And they're like, Herc, you idiot. Like, he is locked up. He's at Jessup. And Herc's just like, if you don't believe me, F you, whatever. Yeah. And like, what? And later they go back to the office and they check on the computer and they find out it is true. Avon has been paroled.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where they like, Lieutenant, you got to see this.
Yeah.
Big joke.
Yep.
Back so soon?
Thought you guys had enough of our happy district yesterday.
Just need a favor. Lester wants you to scoop up any discarded cell phones you find on Barksdale corners.
On Barksdale's license plates, tag numbers,
Whatever, sure.
So I saw a big man riding in a truck the other day. Yeah, missed the tags, but if I see him again...
Stringer?
No, the other guy.
What other guy?
Big boy, the one we locked up, Avon.
Avon Barksdale?
Oh, Jesus, Herc. He's at Jessup. Down for 4 or 5 at least. What, we all look alike to you?
If you don't believe me, then fuck it.
No fucking way.
Yeah. That's the end of that one.
Yep. Yeah, I always appreciate a shot of somebody throwing something at a camera.
Yeah.
So
great.
I don't know how they actually pull that off, but it's pretty
know.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so now, I have to wonder if I'm wondering if things would have gone this way without McNulty talking to Colvin, if they found out that Avon would have gotten or was released when he was. Probably not. They would have been annoyed about it anyway, but I doubt they would have changed priority if they were still on Kentel Williamson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah. Anyway, okay. Well, that's the end of it.
Well, the last thing I have.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, you have
I have
Cutty, the
Cutty.
re-romance for
I'm crushing on Cutty again. So we see Cutty, and he is back to doing the landscape work, and he is really trying to get on it. He says he's done mowing, and he's going to, grab up the thing to edge the weeds around the fence. And the guy in charge reminds him that it is gas-powered. He says, yeah, I know. I got to prime it. You just had to tell me the one time. And the boss tells him, drink some more water. You've been going real hard. And if you keep on working like this, I will keep putting you out there. And Cutty says that's good because I don't have anything else. And, the boss is like, well, you walked through those old doors. He said, yeah, I tried to. He says, I thought you were gone for good. And he says, I've tried everything. I've gone to parole officers, employment agencies, and I just feel like I'm an interruption for them.
Yep.
He asks if he has any family. He says, no, just my grandmother. She puts me up in the basement. That's too much to ask of an old girl. And the boss says, you could use somebody else to talk to. What about a social worker? And he says, I hooked up with one guy, and we know he's talking about the deacon. And he says he was good to talk to, but I was not ready to talk to him. And the boss says, well, it sounds like you are ready now. So why don't you try again? Otherwise, you're going to just have to keep on looking at me. And that is maybe not what you want to do.
Hey, my man, I'm done mowing. So I figure I use this to edge the weeds around the fence.
It's gas powered.
Means I gotta prime it. You ain't gotta school me but once.
Get some water before you go back out there. You've been going hard at it. You keep showing up at the spot, I keep putting you on.
Good, because I ain't got nothing else.
You walked back through them old doors, didn't you?
Tried to.
Yeah. I had took you for gone.
Man, parole officers, employment agencies. Shit, I just felt like I was an interruption to their lunch break.
No family?
None besides my grandmother. She put me up in the basement. That's plenty to ask her, the old girl right there.
You could use somebody to talk to besides your grandmoms. What about one of them social worker types?
I hooked up with one dude. He was cool, but I wasn't ready.
You look like you're ready now. I mean, your family here have been, you wouldn't have to talk to me. Shit, I know you're gonna get tired of looking at my ugly ass grill. Drink that too fast, you cramp up.
So Cutty goes and meets with the deacon again. And I just love this so much. And I kind of like this because we get to end on something really positive, right? And he tells the deacon that he does not know what he wants to do. He knows he's looking for something, but he doesn't know what he's looking for. Whoops, there goes my headphone cord. And he tells him, yeah, I do have something to pay me, but it's not a job or a GED. I'm not looking to start to join the church or whatever. And I love this line. He said, I've had this feeling for a long time, and it's like I'm standing outside myself, watching me do things I don't want to do. Just seeing me like I'm somebody else, but never, ever being able to stop the show. And it's just so good. I think everybody's had a moment when they feel like they are just watching themselves do something that is not them. And they're like, what is going on? Why am I doing this? This moment of reflection. So I just love that for him. And the deacon says it's Cutty, right? And he says, no, Dennis.
Yeah.
I love it so much. It just gave me the feels. I love that moment.
Truth is, I don't know what I want. I know I'm looking for something, but I can't even tell you what it is.
I understand you found work.
Ain't no payroll job, but it'll do.
You ain't here for a job or the GED program. So you're looking to join the church?
I've had this feeling for a long time, and It's like I'm standing outside myself, watching me do things I don't want to do, you know? Just seeing me like I'm somebody else, but never ever being able to stop the show. I'm tired.
It's Cutty, right?
No, man. Dennis.
Yay, Cutty!
Yeah, good job,
Yay,
Cutty.
Cutty! You're gonna do okay. You're
Now,
gonna be all right, man. You're gonna be all right.
So
I know it.
so that, you know, just that one turn is enough to redeem him for slapping a woman in the face.
Yeah, I think it is.
Just because he's handsome, you made Prez had to punch Valchek in the face.
He's willing to make amends.
All right, fair enough. Okay.
He is taking a deep look at himself
Yeah.
and what he was like and what he wants to be like. And I never saw Prez really do that.
Fair enough. No, Prez deserved it. Prez, you know, beat up a child.
He beat up a child.
Although that girl was in high school. Now that I think
She
of it.
was in high
No,
school.
Okay, fine.
That's
never
true.
mind. But,
That's
you know,
true.
So okay, just as long as we're being objective about it as much as we can, you know. But no, I just think that when you look back on the story, that Weebay told Avon at the beginning of the season, he said, you know, I just shot a guy.
Yeah.
Come get him.
Yeah.
And I think, I don't know. I don't know if that's what got Cutty arrested and put in jail, you know, and convicted.
Yeah.
But I wonder if it was, and I wonder if that's what his conscience
do cost.
playing the role there. So it's
Yeah.
kind of fascinating to think about that. But I couldn't agree more. Like his little story about what he feels like he's seeing.
Yeah.
It just definitely feels like I think it's really valuable for everybody to take that to heart. Think about like, what am I doing right now? Am I, you know, being true to like what I believe and that kind of thing? And so anyway, and I will bring that up a little bit later in our life lesson. So, but I'm glad that you got to finish on a high note.
So good.
Okay, I did have a couple things I wanted to mention before I forgot.
Okay.
So we actually skipped over Colvin and Carver after the drive-by, and they're talking about who are the drug gangs and who are they, and it kind of reminder of like the previous episode when Carver was like, didn't know I was supposed to take a census.
Yeah.
But and then this time Carver's like, sorry, boss, I don't have anything.
Yes.
And I feel like again, like Carver, we're really seeing this turn.
He's coming
from
around.
him. So that's cool. So just a very 2004 thing was the Shrek Slurpee and the Krispy Kreme.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I mean, Krispy Kreme was absolutely on fire. You thought there was going to be one on every corner in 2004.
Oh, for sure.
And not so much.
No.
And the Shrek 2 came out in May 2004.
Oh, did it?
So it would not surprise me that was still in theaters in November. When
Oh, wow. Okay.
Aired, so that was funny.
That is funny.
And a Shrek Slurpee. But they don't have, the Slurpees are 7-Eleven only. So come on. That's some good branding right now there, even though they were not at a 7-Eleven, I don't think.
Actually, that was just yesterday was Free Slurpee Day.
Yeah. Then I'll get into a couple more kind of meaty ones. So that wait, I'm sorry. What did you just say?
Yesterday was Free Slurpee Day.
Oh,
yesterday was 7-Eleven.
All right.
I
Sorry,
mean, not to give too much about when we're doing
yeah,
this.
right. Yeah. I didn't even think about that. I completely missed it. Oh well. All right. So then, we've been talking about kind of ripple effects and things like that, and I think like, I don't know who wrote this. Who wrote these words. But although clearly Ellie did hack my computer because she got the Omar prediction so right. But nevertheless, you know, I was mentioning the ripple effect, and you know that's what Bunk said to Omar. He said that you think all that ripples out, and I just think that there's really something to like the conscience due cost for like Omar's effect on what he did has actually kind of rippled out and then rippled back to him and affected him. So I just thought that was kind of. It's just that, like, Bunk's comment, I think, is, like, now he's kind of Omar has to now kind of evaluate what he's doing and how it's coming back to haunt him a little bit and things like that. So the last little bit is Snoop. So is played by Felicia Snoop Pearson. So she's basically literally playing herself.
Okay.
She was convicted of second-degree murder when she was, like, 14. And Michael K. Williams saw her, like, literally like days after she was released from prison at a club, and I said she has got something, and so he basically brought her in, and David Simon and Ed Burns were like, she's great, and so then they bring her in, and now she's like this iconic figure in The Wire. So I will have more of her story for next time, but it's so
That's
cool.
amazing.
Yeah, it's so
I
cool.
had no idea.
Yeah.
Wow.
So she, and there's just the interaction with the crew and stuff is really quite something that it's. I'm excited to share that for next time. So
Okay.
yeah, so that is Felicia Snoop Pearson. So all right, moving on to a couple of other categories that we got. Killer cameos.
Yeah.
Any that you had?
Let me think about this.
Okay, I'll throw one out that it's not my winner.
Okay.
But the drug dealer that Carver works with.
Okay.
I don't know. I like him.
Oh, yeah.
I thought he was good. I especially liked the little when Carver comes back with the basketball hoop and the guy gives him the little nod to come
Yes.
over. I don't know. I just like that. So I thought that was kind of cool. Anybody else coming up for you?
No, I don't think so. I don't think there's anybody that I can think of that is really like that blew me away. I
Okay.
mean, Squeak comes back, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
So otherwise she would 100%.
Yeah.
So I wanted to give it to the guy who minds the pigeon coop. I mean,
yeah,
he's.
okay.
I don't know what
Pigeon
it is
coop man,
about
yeah.
him, but his
Yeah.
interaction with Jamie Hector
true.
is just fantastic.
Very
He's
good.
real loyal. Like I
Wow.
can't get him off that nest. Just
Okay.
I don't know why, but
Yep.
anyway, I love that
Squabs.
stuff. Yeah. Now,
Some people do eat pigeons. Squabs.
is that what? Okay,
Squab,
so
yeah, squab is pigeon.
So is a squeaker? Is that a different kind of pigeon, or I wasn't sure if that was the name of the pigeon?
I don't know.
or
We're gonna have to do some pigeon
Okay,
research.
all right. Well, let's come back for that for next
Mhm.
time. All right, we just to hammer the callbacks, which I did already, or we talked about already. You got the tie from
Yes.
the court appearance from season 2, and then I
Correct.
mentioned the "You Piece of Shit" from Daniels. So
Yes.
that's all right. We'll talk about the music. You piece of shit. I would like that to be our end slate, but I don't want our users to go off with that kind of message. So that'll just be a quote or a clip that we include. All right. So when Avon and Slim are looking at the corners at the beginning, Head Sprung by LL Cool J is playing in the car.
Okay.
Which I just thought was an interesting dynamic contrast from when country was driving. It would all be like 70s funk music.
Oh, yeah.
And now it's LL Cool J, who is, started in the 80s, rap. So very much more on the Slim Charles side. Although Slim Charles and Juan Glover is a killer go-go DJ, but I'm sure you saw he didn't need to promote his own stuff. I'm sure.
Right.
Anyway, he need to give LL Cool J a little love because that guy's struggling.
Yeah.
I just think this is funny when Mrs. Carcetti and Teresa are talking. Sheryl Crow's "Strong Enough" is playing on the radio. It's just like that's a very let me say it's very on brand, right down the middle.
For sure.
And then when Bernard and Squeak are in the car at one point, "Turn Me On" by Kevin Little is playing. So
Okay.
So that gets us to our life lessons.
Okay.
So anything that you wanted to bring up today?
Not really. I love Cutty's, and I think I've probably talked about that to excess, but just kind of like, there's such a thing as second chances,
Mhm.
and just because you go down the wrong route for a while doesn't mean that there's no salvation for you still. Like there's always a chance to come back around. There's always a chance to do better. So I don't know. I just loved that.
I
loved it.
That was actually.
Oh, did I just steal your
No.
thunder,
I
man?
mean, don't steal. Like this is your. The only way I would just maybe reframe it a little bit.
Yeah.
Is sometimes you're not ready, and it's easy to say, "Well, okay, I'm not going down that path again."
Yeah.
Right? But recognizing when you're not ready doesn't mean you'll never be ready.
Right.
So. Don't burn bridges. Don't close doors entirely.
Yeah.
Keep them open so that you can come and test them again later on and see if you're able
exactly.
to walk through. So,
Yes.
Yeah. So, but I will. But that was like the one. I was like, the way you said it, absolutely. And just go listen to Cutty's monologue again, and just to make sure that am I doing things that I feel like I don't understand or I don't want to do anymore. I'm going to mention though, just pee after sex and shower after sex. That's just good etiquette. That's just good etiquette.
Yeah, and it's just healthy.
Avoid
peeing after sex is really
particularly
much
for
better
ladies.
for you.
Particularly for ladies.
Yes.
And then the last thing, I think it's related, but the conscience do cost.
Yeah.
Like if you're doing things that don't match with your values,
Yeah.
you are paying one way or the other.
Yep.
So just keep that in mind, and
Yep.
and then make sure that you align and keep testing the right path for yourself. Every
Agreed.
once in a while, whatever you think
Agreed.
that right path is.
Yes.
There's no shame in trying to go back to it.
But don't necessarily take your ring finger off.
Yeah,
Sometimes I feel like I messed up, and then I go way too far in punishing myself for it.
Interesting.
You know, and I gotta reset my frame of mind and be like, is this necessary? Like, yeah, you gotta be. There's contrition, there is making amends, but then at some point, you have to ask, am I beating myself up more than I need to?
That's interesting because where
some of us are too hard on ourselves.
I agree on that.
Yeah.
Not me personally. I let myself get away with all kinds of nuts.
Right.
But no, I mean, but let me ask you, because you're, let's see, the process of kind of punishing yourself and then turning that into action.
Yeah.
Like, how do you? I guess it's you have to figure out.
Yeah.
Where that balance is. Right?
Yeah. It's that. I'm still figuring it out.
Are you?
I don't know. Yeah. There's a lot of times I'm like, wow, it's clear that the other person is not thinking about this at all anymore. Why are you?
Yeah. Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
That's a good.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then,
I mean, all of my fingers would be chopped off by now. Bitch, worth more than a pinky.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll leave it there, Ellie. Those are some good life lessons.
I need that embroidered in a little thing in my house somewhere. Wouldn't that be awesome? My family would be like, "What is this?"
Where?
If you don't get it, you don't get it.
I mean, right? Exactly. Let's see. How is it? Where would that go? I was just like,
I don't know.
I'm imagining in a church, like in a church over to the confessional, like the bitch.
Oh, totally.
Oh man,
so good.
I have to look at.
So good.
I know, and I have to look up if that's actually a real story or not.
Oh my gosh! What if it was? That would be amazing.
It, so,
yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, the most important now part is how is your predictions.
My predictions.
So you already mentioned major crimes will figure out something about the phones. So,
yeah, I'm just trying to think like if there is a way that they are going to work with the company or the distributor to maybe could they pre-tap the phones somehow before they. But then how do you know who's going to purchase them? I don't know. Or like maybe they set up a thing where like, oh, free phone. No, it's dumb. I don't know. I feel like there's got to be something where they do something to the phones before they sell them. And because we know Bernard is buying them now in bulk, right? We know that he's going to that level. He's buying more at one time. But I don't know how they're going to figure out where Bernard's been, where to sell the phones if they wanted to and I might be going down a totally wrong path on that. I have no idea. But somehow something with that. I'm trying to connect those two things. They need to be able to put a wire up on these phones before they get dumped. And then they also know that we also know that the phones are being purchased in larger quantities.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I got for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Okay.
All right. And that went into real detail.
Sorry.
No. I'm
thinking
impressed.
about that for
I'm
a
impressed.
while.
I mean, you could have left this like major crimes will figure out something about the phones, period. No. But no, you decided to go a couple of levels deeper, so good job.
Okay, let's see here. I think, well, we've got now Marlo has hit some of Avon's guys, and it's getting real bad. So I think Avon is going to be super reactionary, and he's going to try to go back at Marlo now.
Okay.
I think Brianna's going to start putting it together that Dee was murdered, and I think she's going to already suspect Stringer.
Okay.
Okay. Here's kind of my favorite little dream.
Okay.
Is for Cutty.
Yeah.
Okay. In this dream, Cutty.
I'm so nervous because what if like she just absolutely Ellie just absolutely nails.
I don't think so, but I would like Cutty to meet up with Grace again. Okay. And Grace, we know, works at a school. And we have all of these kids that are doing nothing, these boys. And like Grace is like, hey, you're looking for something. These boys need a male role model. and somehow gets him involved in that because he's looking for something bigger, which means somebody's looking to give back. We met Grace. Why? Why did we meet her, Chris? Just to get the connection to the deacon? That could have happened any other way. She works with kids. So anyways, that is my dream, is that somehow Cutty like turns into, somehow he gets to do that. You know, put his experience, this hard experience, and, just like have a more, not like when the kids go to the mortuary.
Right.
They get that scary lesson there, but instead they get like the lesson of, hey, I did this and I went to prison for 14 years.
Mm-hmm.
It was real hard. I took a person's life, and from somebody who, that they could see more like them.
Okay.
That's my dream. Let's call that prediction dream.
Okay.
Dream prediction.
There are no dreams.
There are no dream sequences in The Wire. Okay. There's just Ellie's dreams.
Okay. All right. Well, that's pretty. I mean, you didn't go into actually what will that be, but
that's
still, it's pretty good.
That's my dream. Like when I had my dream that Elena marries a rich doctor.
Right. Yeah. Too bad.
No,
Amy
but maybe she'll marry a rich lawyer.
Will
now.
Cheryl marry a rich, lesbian lawyer?
Yeah. That could be great for her.
Okay.
I don't know that I have anything else.
I mean, that's good stuff already.
Okay.
Okay, you got the major crimes. You got Avon. You got Brianna.
Maybe Carver gets involved with Cutty and Grace somehow because he wants something for the kids.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm sorry. Now I'm going really far into left field.
You really are, but that's okay.
All right.
This is all good stuff. All right. Well, why don't we leave it there? Because clearly,
sorry,
I feel like the Cutty
land.
dream is like 3 predictions in one. So
sorry.
Okay. Well, that's great.
Okay.
Good job. All right. Well, we will be back next week with season 3.
Season 3, episode 8.
I forgot the thing. Hang on, I will tell you in 1 second. It is called Moral Midgetry. Season 3, episode 8, Moral Midgetry.
Fascinating.
Okay. And yes, so we will be back next week to cover that. So, Ellie, as always, thank you so much.
Thank you, Chris.
And we will see you all next week.
Bye, everyone.
The Wired and Rewired podcast is Ellie Peterson and me, Chris Aronchek. Our theme song is Nice Vibes by Neon Beach. Want to holler at us? You can email us at wiredandrewired@gmail.com or hit us on the burner at 240-488-0060 to leave us a voicemail. We're Wired and Rewired on all the socials. And of course, if you like the show, please give us a rating and review on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. It helps other Wire fans discover the show. And until next time.
See, now you're thinking like police.